Yes, I was cheating. And not with just anyone. It was with my father-in-law. It was an affair, not a planned cheating, just one night, and it happened at the most unexpected moment. It happened on Christmas. There were no witnesses, no suspicions, no scandal, just two people in the worst possible context with the person who should never have been there. And the most unsettling part isn't what happened, it's how easy it was to hide. The dinner had been perfect. Too perfect. Long table, laughter, toasts, the same comments as every year. My boyfriend was relaxed, happy, with that calm of someone who feels everything is in place. His mother went back and forth in the kitchen. His father, my father-in-law, was sipping wine slowly, more than usual. Me too. Glasses being refilled, toasts without much reason, that feeling of having a good night. There were no strange looks at the table, no signs, nothing anyone could point to later and say, that's where it started. That came later, when no one was paying attention. After dinner, as always, we started clearing the table. Plates, serving dishes, glasses. My boyfriend stayed in the living room, talking to an uncle. His mother was attending to other guests. And then we were alone in the kitchen, just a few minutes, supposedly. The kitchen was quiet, except for the sound of water and dishes. I was carrying things to the sink. He was drying them. Nothing out of place, nothing suspicious, until we started talking. At first, it was a silly conversation. Comments about the food, how tiring the day had been, how fast the years go by. Common phrases, nothing meaningful, until suddenly it was. He told me I looked different that night, looser, more radiant. I should have smiled and changed the subject. Instead, I laughed and kept talking. That's when the mistake started, or the decision, depending on how you look at it. Alcohol doesn't invent things, it just removes brakes, and I was already talking too much. I told him I was tired, that sometimes I felt my relationship had become boring. Nothing serious, but enough. He listened, too closely. I was the one who stayed a second longer than normal talking to him. I was the one who held the situation. I was the one who didn't step away when the silence became uncomfortable. I'm not going to play the victim. I'm not one. He said something about how good I looked when I spoke with so much confidence. I should have left. Instead, I felt that strange, daring feeling that only comes when you've had a little too much to drink. I'm not going to go into physical details. It's unnecessary, and that's not the point. What matters is the moment we both understood the same thing without saying it. The second it happened, and we knew that if we continued, there was no turning back. And we continued. I had cheated on my own father-in-law, and no one suspected a thing. When I came back, everything was the same. The music was playing, people were laughing. My boyfriend looked at me and smiled, noticing absolutely nothing. I felt like I was carrying a huge secret, but on the outside, I looked like the same as always. The night went on. We toasted again, sat together. I received messages, hugs, well wishes. He moved around the house naturally, his father too, as if nothing had happened, as if we hadn't shared something that no one else knew. And that was the most disturbing part, not the cheating itself, but how easy it was to hide, how normal everything looked from the outside, how naturally life went on, while inside I knew I had done something I shouldn't have. No one saw us, no one caught us, no one suspected that night. And as the hours went by, I began to understand that the real problem wasn't what happened, but what would happen afterward, with that silence between us, with that secret walking through the house. I'm not proud of what I did, and I need to say it like this, straight, without beating around the bush. It wasn't a feat. It wasn't a victory. It wasn't something to tell with a smile. It was a mistake, a huge mistake. That night, I kept telling myself over and over that it was the alcohol, the context, the exhaustion, the trust. And yes, all of that played a role, but I'm not hiding behind excuses. No one forced me. No one pressured me. I was the one who let myself go when I should have stopped. The one who thought one more drink wouldn't make a difference, but it did. Sometimes cheating is talked about as if it's something only bad people do, cheaters by nature, almost like villains from a manual. And that's not always the case. It can happen to anyone. People who love, who don't plan to hurt anyone, who just make a mistake at the worst possible moment and with the worst possible person. Because let's be honest, if you're going to make a mistake, doing it with your father-in-law was never in my life plan, not even close. The hardest part came afterward, when routine returned. When I woke up next to my boyfriend and saw him sleeping peacefully, trusting me, completely unaware. That's when I really understood what had happened. Not the cheating itself, but the silence of the next morning. And I need to be completely honest, it was the first time I cheated on him. Never before. I had never led a double life. I had never kept secrets like this. And I'm not saying it to clean my image. I'm saying it because it's part of the truth. I'm not someone who cheats out of habit. I'm someone who that night made a chain of bad decisions. I intend to stay with my boyfriend. And yes, I love him. I truly love him. Not as an empty phrase, but as a real feeling. We share a life, projects, plans. And that's exactly why this weighs so much. Because it wasn't from a lack of love. It was from a mix of stupidity and too much wine. With my father-in-law, nothing ever happened again. Not a look out of place, not a message, not a private conversation. That silence was an unspoken agreement, a sort of tacit pact of this never happened. At family gatherings afterward, everything was normal, too normal. Trivial chats, polite greetings, correct distance. No one suspected anything, for now. And every time someone said, "That was such a nice Christmas," I nodded with a smile that, believe me, had layers of irony. Because yes, it was a great Christmas, ironically perfect. Delicious dinner, family together, laughter, toasts, and a monumental secret hidden among napkins and empty glasses. If someone had told me I would remember that night for the family atmosphere, I would have said yes. Technically, I wouldn't be lying. The only person who knows all of this is my best friend. I told her because I needed to unload, because I couldn't carry it alone anymore. She listened without judgment, said exactly what I needed to hear and nothing more. And that's it. I won't tell anyone else. Not because I feel untouchable, but because not every mistake needs to become a spectacle. I also think about what it would mean for everyone if this came to light. For him, for his family, for an entire structure that would collapse over something that happened just once and doesn't define who I am or how I feel today. It wouldn't be catharsis. It would be a bomb. I'm not looking for approval. I'm not asking anyone to say it was okay. It wasn't. But I also don't want to carry a label that doesn't represent me. It was a human mistake, amplified by too many drinks and the least expected person. And even though it sounds weird to say it this way, it was an unforgettable Christmas. And now I want to talk to you, listening to this story from the outside, comfortably not in my shoes. I want to ask you a real question, no judgment. What do you think of what I did? Do you think it was unforgivable? Or do you see it as a mistake taken to the extreme because of the context, the alcohol, and a chain of bad decisions? Because I believe things aren't black and white. There aren't clear villains or excuses. There's just a person who made a mistake, who didn't plan to hurt anyone, yet something that shouldn't have happened. Tell me honestly, Has something like this ever happened to you? Not exactly the same, but that moment when you did something you never thought you would. Something that doesn't represent you, but it happened. Something that happened just once and still left a mark. Do you think all mistakes should be confessed? Or are there situations where telling the truth only relieves your own guilt, even if it destroys everything else? That's why I ask you, if you were in my place, what would you do now? Would you confess? I'm not asking you to justify me. I'm not asking you to condemn me. I'm asking you to really think about it. I want to read you. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you've ever been there, in that uncomfortable spot where there are no right decisions, only consequences.